After years and years of waiting, it is finally on the distant horizon. Now, first things first, if you're a new fan of the series who's only just recently played the 1.5 remix and you're waiting for the new games to come out, so you're trying to avoid spoilers, don't worry. There are going to be annotations throughout this video that will let you skip over major spoilers for the future entries in the series. With that being said, these are the top 10 things that need to be in Kingdom Hearts 3. Disney is obviously an important part of the Kingdom Hearts series. The protagonists travel between many different planets or worlds during the game, and these worlds are frequently themed after specific Disney films and populated by their casts. This has always been an integral part of the game's design, but after the first game, the whole concept just kinda got misused. In the first game, the fact that there was a unique antagonist, Ansem, was a late game twist, and until he showed up, the player thought that Maleficent was the main villain, along with her various followers. The Disney worlds all contributed to the overarching plot of the game, as you defeated more of Maleficent's minions and learned more about her plans and the Heartless. In fact, most of the worlds didn't even follow the plot of the film they were based on, instead creating a new plot that used the characters believably, but served to push the overarching narrative forward. In the future games, though, the Disney worlds and their inhabitants had less and less to do with the narrative. In Kingdom Hearts 2, your primary objective from the get-go was to find and defeat Organization 13, a group of villains unique to Kingdom Hearts. In your search for the organization, as well as King Mickey and Riku, you pass through numerous Disney worlds and help their inhabitants, but these worlds serve as little more than roadblocks. They're just there because, well, it's Kingdom Hearts, and for the most part, they follow the plot of their respective films down to a T. They contribute nothing to the overall story, they're just settings to randomly drop a villain into so that you can kill them. But if we want the Disney worlds and characters of Kingdom Hearts 3 to feel fresh and exciting, they'll need to do more than just use new locations. They'll have to find a way to give them real significance to the overall story of Kingdom Hearts 3. It'll just give everything that we do a bit more weight, more significance, and the games won't feel as padded as number 2 and Days did.
The key bearer shatters peace and brings ruin.
There have been a lot of improvements to the design of Kingdom Hearts throughout the series. Though the gameplay took a bit of a dive in Kingdom Hearts 2, after Birth by Sleep and Dream Drop Distance, the series has figured out its feel and control pretty well. The magic system has improved, the platforming is much less frustrating, and the player character feels much less stiff than they did in the first couple of entries. But if there's one element of the design that's only gotten worse since Kingdom Hearts 1, it's the level design. Most worlds in the later games feel roughly the same. Though their visuals may be different, there is very little in their design to differentiate them from one or another. They just feel like rooms with different skin packs, lacking any real distinction. In Kingdom Hearts 1, you could always tell where you were. Atlantica was underwater, Neverland was tight and compact. Even the two city levels, Traverse Town and Agrabah, felt distinct because Agrabah was small and had lots of blocky, flat rooftops, whereas Traverse Town was wide open and had a lot of smaller rooms and angled roofs. People complain about Wonderland being a bit confusing, but at least it was distinct. It kept finding new ways to surprise you, changing the gravity to put you on the floor and the roof, and all 4 walls of one of its rooms. It was unique and surprising, and none of the other worlds in the series could be compared to it. Aside from the design, the scale of the worlds in later games is somewhat disappointing. The original game trailer's review for Kingdom Hearts 2 put it best when it said, "It makes you feel less like you're living in your favorite Disney movies, and more like someone is holding your hand through them." You don't feel like you're walking through a world, you feel like you're walking through a set. Something fabricated, an imperfect copy of the real thing, designed to temporarily make you think you're there, but not accommodating you when you stop and look at it for more than a few seconds. The scale is part of this issue. In Kingdom Hearts 1, the world feels large and Sora feels small, but in the other games this is reversed. Just for comparison, look here and see how long it takes me to cross the first district of Traverse Town in Kingdom Hearts 1, as opposed to how long it takes me to cross it in Dream Drop Distance. The reduction of scale makes the world less immersive, and what is the point of this series if not to be immersed in these worlds? And that's really what I mean when I say scale increase. It doesn't mean make the worlds bigger, but make them feel bigger. Actually making them larger, as with Dream Drop Distance, won't mean much if you can't first make them immersive. It's the intimate little things that make the game feel good. You've got lots of simple puzzles, secret rooms, actual animations for when you leave an area instead of a simple fade out, NPCs, all kinds of little things that make it feel more immersive and real. And making Sora bigger than everything, making him so fast that it's difficult to stop and smell the roses, that's a problem. Which is why I think that as much as flow motion in Dream Drop Distance was really cool, it's gotta go. I mean, you saw how fast it took me to walk across this area. Look how fast I can get there with flow motion.
You gonna cry?
Sorry, I'll move on. Just scale. Fix it. It's pretty common knowledge now that Kingdom Hearts 3 will put an end to the so-called Xehanort Saga. That means that while the series will continue past Kingdom Hearts 3, we'll be moving on to a new plot and a new villain, and if we're going to do that, then we'll need a clean slate. Now, when I say that we need a clean slate, I don't mean that the ending is they go back in time and stop everything from happening, or it was all a dream, or the universe breaks and gets reset to Factory Zero. That's not what I mean. What I mean is, Kingdom Hearts 3 needs to tie up every single possible loose end imaginable. Kingdom Hearts is a very, very complex series. Sometimes it's complex for good reasons, like clever writing and world building, and other times for poor reasons, like plot contrivance. One way or another, though, this franchise has simply become too complex to move on from here. Sort of like how in comics, sometimes they get to the point where there are so many new rules and new plot lines that they have long, drawn-out arcs devoted just to restoring a sense of normalcy to the continuity. Well, as normal as modern comics get, anyway. If I'm being completely honest, though, I really don't have any idea how we're gonna fix this whole thing at this point. My old idea was that the main characters would time travel to either the distant past or the distant future, perhaps to the time of the Keyblade War or something, and that would be the new premise. But Dream Drop Distance kinda screwed up that idea with its weird, ineffective time travel, so I'm not sure exactly how we're gonna fix this one. But one thing's for sure, it needs to be fixed. It needs to answer all the lingering questions, and it needs to leave us with a satisfying conclusion. We don't want to be left with a teaser, we don't want a cliffhanger, we don't need any mystery. Kingdom Hearts 3 needs to end as if the series were ending. Not because the series should end, but because the series has simply become too complex to carry on under its own crushing weight. If we truly resolve things and give a satisfying conclusion for the world and for the characters, then we might be able to distill the complex nature of this world into something manageable, something that can survive for a few more sequels. Hopefully next time around, Square won't feel the need to squeeze out dozens of spin-offs that only convolute the series more.
We may profess to know the heart, but its essence is beyond our reach.
If there's one positive thing that I can say about every single Kingdom Hearts game, it's that one way or another they all have a good sense of escalation. Be it a boss that we've never seen before or even imagined in our wildest dreams, an emotional, gut-wrenching climax that we want to throw ourselves into just as much as the character that we're playing as, taking down a final dungeon that's foreboding from the moment that we lay eyes on it, or, my personal favorite, best friend murder. If there's one thing these games reliably get right, it's the climax. But Kingdom Hearts 3 can't just escalate at the end. It's gotta go above and beyond from the get-go. After spending the entirety of Dream Drop Distance getting Sora and Riku stronger, I mean that basically was the entire point of that game, decking them out with the most absurdly overpowered magical abilities known in the series, after pitting us against the biggest, baddest villains that we've seen yet, we need to know from the second that we start fighting that things have escalated. Sora should be a demigod at the beginning of the game, and he and his enemies should only get stronger as the game goes on. By the end of the game, he should be doing moves and tricks that we never imagined. This is supposed to be the ultimate world-shattering climactic showdown, and if it just feels like the same Sora from Kingdom Hearts 2, or even the Sora from Dream Drop Distance, there's a problem. But since we're going up against the baddest of the bad and the strongest of the strong, that means that someone is gonna have to go.
Me, the mistress of all evil!
No, don't get me wrong. In Kingdom Hearts, Maleficent was the perfect villain, but in Kingdom Hearts 2, she's just kinda there. And in Dream Drop Distance, she shows up for one scene and she's little more than a gag. Her scheme simply can't measure up to what Xehanort is attempting to do, so unless she adapts and becomes a villain worthy of standing beside him, there's no room for her. She's just a distraction. Now trust me, if she can be reworked to actually be threatening again, I would gladly have her stay. But from the way that she's set up in Dream Drop Distance, she just seems like a leftover, a relic, an obligation, and if she doesn't match with the heightened urgency and threat of Kingdom Hearts 3, then she's only gonna hold it back. Now, if there's one other key thing that needs to change to make this whole thing work, it's that the series needs to get over its aversion for killing off its characters. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't like stuff that throws in death just to be dark and edgy for no real reason, but when you consider the fact that the only person in the entire series to actually die and stay dead was this guy, then you realize there's a bit of a problem. Ansem the Wise, not dead. Ansem and Xemnas, not dead. Half the Disney villains, revived in Kingdom Hearts 2 with little to no explanation. In fact, Ursula is revived a third time. Look, Kingdom Hearts, if you can't show me that you have the balls to kill your characters off, then how can I ever take any threats from the villains seriously? I'm not asking for a darker tone, I'm really not, but what I do want is a reason to fear and respect these guys, and so far Xehanort has killed one guy. One. And that's it. Come on. When I initially started playing Kingdom Hearts 2, I expected Radiant Garden to turn into a hub world in the same way that Traverse Town had been in the original, but no such thing happened. You never really had any reason to go there unless the story dictated it. If you wanted to grind, you went to wherever the hardest enemies were. If you needed to buy something, you just went to the holographic Moogle shop. It was more convenient than flying to Radiant Garden and visiting all 4 shops. In Kingdom Hearts, you returned to Traverse Town after every single world, not only because the game sent you there frequently, but because you needed a resupply. There were no holographic Moogle shops in the game. You can only buy items at places where there would logically be a shop. Having to return to Traverse Town every time really made it feel like a home, and it helped to promote a sense of adventure. In Kingdom Hearts 2, you can see where the next world will be before you unlock it, and you're free to fly around the entire empty map from the get-go. And when you have that kind of freedom presented to you right away, it kind of eliminates any feeling of progression. Since you returned to Traverse Town at the end of every world, you really felt like you were exploring, like you were venturing out into the unknown. It was at the far left of the world map, and you were slowly progressing farther and farther to the right, like a pioneer venturing out into the wild. The sense of progression was more tangible and exciting because you felt like you were progressing, like you were revealing something, like you were going somewhere. You were launching your ship off and traveling to the farthest reaches of space before returning home to sell your spoils, stock up for the long journey, and depart for another uncharted land.
I guess you think you can psych me out by saying really random stuff.
Alright, so maybe I'm full of it on this one. That's really a personal feeling, and maybe everyone didn't get that sense from the hub world. But there is one other really useful thing that we can do with hub worlds, and that's subworlds.
It is rather funny what I will do for honey.
Although I am reluctant to call Radiant Garden a hub world, it does feature subworlds in both Pooh's storybook and Space Paranoids. These open up tremendous opportunity for potential crossovers. For instance, let's take the Muppets. You couldn't make a whole world out of the Muppet Theater, but you could certainly put that theater into the hub world. Have a bunch of fun, lighthearted cutscenes and some mini-games, or even just some skits that you can watch a la the theaters from Grand Theft Auto. It would fit pretty well, actually, and I think having more non-combat locations would create a nice change of pace for the game. To cite another example, let's take Mary Poppins, which is another world that people have talked about a lot on the internet. Most people have proposed that we could use the chalk drawing scene from the film as the setting for the world, but why would you want to restrict yourself to that one scene from the film? On the other hand, putting Heartless and other enemies into any other sequence of the film wouldn't quite feel right tonally. But still, if we only use this one location and sequence, we are missing a lot of what makes the film special, including the most important character in the film, upon which the entire emotional center point of the story spins. So here's my proposition. If the Banks family and Bert just live on your hub world, be it Radiant Garden or Twilight Town or wherever, then you can just bump into them naturally a couple of times as the story progresses, see Mary Poppins come along, see their story unfolding slowly, and then eventually you get to the point in the story where Bert draws his chalk drawing, and you have a new subworld to explore, but you get a much more extended cameo than that one scene would have provided otherwise. So now, theoretically, you've created this place that just continually builds and advances and adds things throughout the entire game so that every single time you go back there, there's new fun stuff to do. Birth by Sleep and Dream Drop Distance didn't have anything like this, and Kingdom Hearts 2 didn't really fully commit to the idea. Only the original Kingdom Hearts comes close, and even then there is so much potential it doesn't get to. Trust me on this. True hub world. It's a good idea.
Your name?
I'm Sora.
Talk about noise.
Ah! Why don't I just help you out as your friend?
Now we're friends? It's not that easy.
Not saying it is, but you could make it easier.
Yeah, sounds great. Whatever.
Oh, Sora. We gotta talk, man.
Do you trust every total stranger you meet?
Sora's always been a little bit dumb, but never to the extent that he was in Dream Drop Distance. Either he's being a complete moron, an optimist to a fault, or a Mary Sue who knows exactly how to respond to every single situation. I'm okay with his optimism. I really don't like the moments where he's being a Mary Sue, but if there's one thing that annoyed me the entire way through Dream Drop Distance, it was just how stupid he was.
Gosh, I don't think I recognize you, but the name does have a familiar ring.
Oh yeah!
He wasn't this stupid in the other games, and he didn't always instantly make the right decisions. He didn't always instantly know who the bad guys were.
We can't just go around knocking kings off their thrones.
But he also had a mischievous, fun side to him as well.
Then again, if they see that I'm stronger than their king, maybe they'll ask me to be their next king.
In Dream Drop Distance, he loses all of that personality. He's a moronic saint, and I can't stand it.
I don't think Rinsler is quite the friend you remember.
Hey Sora, do you want to, like, help the girl who just took a direct blow for you and is now fighting against that guy one-on-one? No? You're just gonna stand there and talk to yourself for a little while? And now she's been captured. Well, there was nothing you could have done, Sora. The Sora of Kingdom Hearts 3 not only needs to be smarter, but he needs to be more realistic. He needs to make mistakes. He needs to accidentally help a villain. He needs to hurt a friend's feelings, either on purpose or on accident. I don't care.
Have we met before?
What? Wait, is this like what happened with Jiminy and Tron?
You actually still trust me?
Of course I do.
But you know that I tricked you, right?
No big deal.
Where are you going?
I'm going after Clue.
Do you even know where he is?
Nope, no idea.
Kairi's been around since the very beginning. She's the second character we see in the entire series, for crying out loud, unless you want to count the opening cinematic. And she finally needs to have a chance to step into the spotlight. I know that a lot of people have given up entirely on Kairi as a character, especially since she's barely had a presence in the games. In Dream Drop Distance, she has maybe 5 seconds of screen time, no dialogue, and is mentioned perhaps twice. But personally, I like her. Yeah, she hasn't been all that fleshed out, but I think people's complaints about her being a completely helpless damsel in distress are unfounded. Sure, she lacks the ability to take care of herself for the majority of the series, but that doesn't stop her from trying. When Sora rescues her in Kingdom Hearts 1, she asks to go back with him for the final fight. In Kingdom Hearts 2, she actively leaves to go and look for Sora and Riku as soon as the opportunity is presented to her. If you go to the manga... Yeah, I've read the manga. What are you gonna do about it? She's even more proactive, punching a nobody and biting Axel when he tries to abduct her. What does Princess Peach do when Bowser kidnaps her? Oh yeah, she screams, Mario! And that's it. I'm not sure Kairi even has it in her to ask for help, because she never does. And when Riku does give her a weapon, she doesn't waste time brooding or stumbling around like a jackass. She jumps straight in and starts killing things. I'm telling you, this chick is awesome! Which brings me to what I guess you could call number 3.5 for this list, and that's that we need multiple playable characters. You cannot tell me that you're setting up this big climactic showdown between 13 baddies and 7 goodies, and you're going to keep us restricted to Sora's shoes the entire time. That means either A, the ending will consist of other heroes beating bad guys in cutscenes instead of letting you actually, play the fights, or B, Sora just beats everyone, completely defeating the point of having 7 heroes. Plus, after playing through Dream Drop Distance as both Sora and Riku, and Birth by Sleep as Terra, Aqua, and Ventus, I'm not sure I'm ready to be plopped back into Sora's restrictive shoes for the entire game. This fight isn't just about him, it's about everyone, and it seems like it will be unfair to the characters to not let them finish what they started. And it will be unfair to the player to not let them finish what they started in the shoes that they started it in. And since we were talking about Escalation before, Kairi would be the absolutely perfect third protagonist. As I said before, Sora and Riku should be unstoppable at the beginning of the game, so having a character like Kairi start at level 1 and work their way up would be a good contrast. She could be the tutorial character like Roxas was in Kingdom Hearts 2, and then the player could get eased into the systems of the game without worrying about whatever complex tricks Sora and Riku have up their sleeves. Kairi would also massively change up the gameplay. The experience of playing as her would be totally different and refreshing after doing an entire campaign as Sora or Riku, even more so than switching between Terra, Aqua, and Ventus was. I think 3 is the perfect number for this whole split campaign thing, but there's no reason to leave out other Keyblade wielders as well. Perhaps you'll get to play all of the heroes during the game's final chapter, which would only be unlocked after you've beaten all 3 main stories. Better yet, maybe along the way you can unlock special episodes a la Valkyria Chronicles, and they'd let you play through a short side story as Axel or Mickey or Aqua or someone else. But seriously, Kairi is the crux of this whole thing. There's simply not enough depth to Sora to carry a major emotional character arc, and Riku's bout with darkness, while interesting, is getting a little bit stale. Introducing a new character with her own set of wishes and goals and faults would be fantastic. Maybe Sora, afraid that Kairi won't fare well by herself, sends Donald and Goofy with her instead of bringing them with him. Think of all the weird banter they could have. Donald would probably feel jibbed for having to hang out with Kairi instead of Sora. Kairi could feel belittled and embarrassed, but over time they'd come to like each other. Oh, and just think about how much Donald and Goofy could tell Kairi about Sora.
Oh, I bet Kairi would like most anything you gave her.
I know. That's what made it so hard to decide.
And all the times that he talked about her, and all the embarrassing things that they've seen him do. It'd just be a great dynamic, even if it was only for a small part of the game. Now, I hope I haven't given anybody the wrong impression throughout the last couple of these things, because I do like Sora most of the time, but I especially like him in Kingdom Hearts 1 and Chain of Memories, and that's because he has actual emotional investment. In Kingdom Hearts 2 and Dream Drop Distance, though, not so much. See, we as the player have emotional investment in taking down the villains because we've played as characters other than Sora, and we have strong ties to these villains. Roxas has a vendetta against Xemnas, Riku has an unsettled score with Ansem, and Xehanort ruined the lives of Aquaterra and Ventus in one fell swoop. But Sora's primary motivation stems from finding and or protecting his friends. In Kingdom Hearts 1, he's trying to find Kairi and Riku, and in Chain of Memories, he's trying to protect Naminé. In both games, the villains directly intervene with his objective, but in Kingdom Hearts 2, we're really only going after Xemnas because he's the bad guy! As of right now, Sora's never even laid eyes on Xehanort, unless of course you count the younger time-traveling version of him. I honestly don't want to finish this fight as Sora. Just about every single character has more reason to kill Xehanort than Sora does. These guys want revenge, and this guy wants to get rid of his demons. She's probably pretty pissed that this guy has continually kept her boyfriend too busy to spend any time with her. This guy will probably want him dead for turning his old best friend against him and effectively killing his two new best friends. What does Sora have? Well, Xemnas probably annoyed him once or twice.
You seem confused.
Everyone needs to have legitimate emotional investment in the story, especially Sora, since he's, our main character. I really think that Sora has the opportunity to be a great lead, but when one of your side villains has more emotional investment and conflict than your three main protagonists combined, then you have writing problems. And if the quote-unquote damsel in distress, who only gets a few scenes, also has more emotional drive than the main protagonist, then you have writing problems. Marluxia was an effective villain because Sora legitimately hates the guy. He torments Sora and Naminé, and in the manga he's way worse, pretty much crucifying Naminé on rose thorns. The player and Sora both get more satisfaction out of beating this guy than you do out of beating Xemnas. I mean, look at this. Sora gives the guy a look of absolute contempt as he fades away. He has no remorse about killing him. I don't know what you've got to do, but as long as it doesn't involve Xehanort killing Kairi, something needs to happen to give Sora a legitimate emotional reason for killing Xehanort. Not just to beat the bad guy, but to accomplish something personal, something for himself. Emotional investment is an important part of making this work, and if Sora doesn't feel something deeply personal when he finishes Xehanort off, or however this saga ends, then it just wouldn't be a fitting climax.
Promise?
Promise.
A lot of people have been talking about putting Star Wars or Marvel-themed worlds into future Kingdom Hearts games. Even disregarding the massive mythology issues that would create, I kinda doubt that Disney would be willing to put those two franchises into Kingdom Hearts 3. With that being said, there is one realm we have yet to tap into, and I feel like the Kingdom Hearts franchise would really benefit from it. We need Final Fantasy worlds. Now hold on there, I already know the comment that half of you are starting to type. I've already seen a lot of people on the internet declare that Final Fantasy elements need to remain cameos in Kingdom Hearts, and that having a Final Fantasy themed world wouldn't fit. But look here, Dream Drop Distance all but confirms that we're going to go to a World Ends With You world in Kingdom Hearts 3, and the way I see it, Final Fantasy worlds fall into the same camp. I'd argue that fans of both franchises could benefit from committing to a full-on Final Fantasy themed world. The obvious issue is that we're rapidly depleting the limited pool of Disney films to pull from, and branching out into Final Fantasy worlds would ensure that we don't completely consume all the possibilities over the next few games. Of course, some Final Fantasy games are already out to have potential world adaptations. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 are probably out because characters from those games have already been shown as residents of Kingdom Hearts worlds. But it still leaves a lot of options on the table. Final Fantasy XII would be my first pick, just because it offers so many diverse locations in a single game. Considering that Ivalice, the continent that Final Fantasy XII takes place on, has been featured in a ton of other games, there's a virtually limitless amount of locations we could send Sora and the gang to, each with their own distinct feel and unique characters to meet. But the real thing we'd benefit from using Final Fantasy worlds is just that we'd have more freedom from a story standpoint. There's no possible way to retell an entire Final Fantasy game within one Kingdom Hearts world, but writing a new, creative, isolated story for that world would be a treat for both Kingdom Hearts fans and the Final Fantasy faithful. Think about this, if you will. As cool as returning to Ivalice would be, how about an HD 3D Final Fantasy 1? The story for that game was pretty bare bones, as was the world, so it would provide the perfect template to create something familiar and nostalgic, but also new. There's no way Square would put the money into making a 3D version of Final Fantasy 1, but a few isolated sections connected by a comedic and nostalgic 8-bit overworld map? That sounds good to me. Plus, having the Warrior of Light repeat Warrior of Light fighting alongside Kingdom Hearts heroes, as in Heroes of Light, It just seems like it was meant to happen. Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts. Are we... Jeez, how many? 8? 7? 7. 7 games into the series, and the series is called Kingdom Hearts, and we don't know what the thing actually is. It's light, but it's darkness, but it's a collection of all knowledge, but it's a collection of all power, but it's a collection of all hearts, but it's a door between the light realm and the dark realm, but it's a moon, but it's an artificial reservoir of hearts created by nobodies, but it's actually a moon that appears when light and darkness clash, but it's a literal door, but it's an abstract, unknowable concept, but it's... You know what, at this point, I don't care anymore. If Tetsuya Nomura wants to keep this thing vague and abstract, then fine, that's his prerogative. But we need to go there. Sora needs to go into Kingdom Hearts. I don't care if it's abstract and weird, I don't care if it's just a big blank white space, I don't care if it's time compression, I don't care. In fact, maybe it's better if it's abstract, maybe it's better if it's just a strange void that neither the player nor the characters can comprehend. But whatever happens, we need to go there. We need to go there, we need to walk around inside it, we need to fight a boss there. Maybe Sora and Xehanort get sucked into it and the door slams behind them and they have one last climactic showdown for the fate of the universe. Maybe everyone gets sucked in and they have to escape before it kills them, or before they're trapped inside forever, or before Xehanort unleashes the forces of darkness from within it, or something. Again, I don't bloody care what we do there, but after 7 games named after the place, we need to go there. Thanks for watching my video. You want to tell me how full of crap my opinions on Kingdom Hearts are? Well, hey, there's this thing called the comments section. It's right down there below the video, and you can tell me how terrible all my opinions are. And I can't do anything about it because I could delete your comment, but then I would look like the jerk, not you. So really, you can do whatever you want because it's the internet. Speaking of the internet, you know where you should go? You should go to kh13.com. They have an archive of all of the Kingdom Hearts cutscenes from all of the Kingdom Hearts games ever. I wasn't able to capture all the footage that I needed myself, so the stuff that I couldn't get, I downloaded from kh13.com, including the manga scans, so go check them out. If you're a fan of Kingdom Hearts, you might want to check out my video series on Final Fantasy XV. The game is being directed by Tetsuya Nomura, the same guy who directed the Kingdom Hearts games. If you aren't a fan of Kingdom Hearts, then, you've watched 28 minutes worth of a video about Kingdom Hearts. Are you lost? Can I get you anything? Perhaps a glass of milk? Or, a GPS? No, you're gonna stick around? I guess I won't object because, hey, I'm gonna make more videos about Kingdom Hearts pretty soon. When I say pretty soon, you ask any of my subscribers, that could be a while, but I am technically working on them, and there will technically be more videos about Kingdom Hearts on this channel, so, if you like what you see, might want to subscribe so you know when those videos come out. Just saying is all. If I've already released a new Kingdom Hearts video by the time that you personally are watching this video, first of all, hello from the past. And second of all, there should be an annotation in the top right-hand corner linking you to that very video. Is that it? I think that's it. Okay, I'm gonna go, watch a loop of Sora being punched in the face, set to Eye of the Tiger. I'll see you guys later.